Contact improv is a form of movement that is an exploration of our bodies moving in space through a point of contact, meaning two people touch each other. So exploration to touch. And it's like meditation, but it's moving. So it's not sitting and meditate.
Moving meditation.
It's moving meditation. Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, a very well-known quote for him is between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies freedom. But the actual physical experience for me is that I cannot not do it. If I not do it, there's something feels very wrong. And I will continue living with that sense of wrongness. And that will kill me from the inside.
Hello guys, so welcome back to another episode of Vietnam Rising podcast, and today I'm sitting with Khuyen from Vietnam Contact Improv, and hey, hi An, thank you for being here.
Thank you, I'm so happy to be
Can
here.
you let us know what's going on?
I just danced last night, so I feel very good in my body now. I had a really good 3 hours of teaching the class and dance
for Contact Improv.
For Contact Improv. Thank you, and thank you for this chance for me to share with more people. I'm very glad to share that. Contact Improv is a form of movement that is an exploration of our bodies moving in space through a point of contact, meaning two people touch each other. So exploration to touch and the point of contact and using momentum, using sharing weight. So that's it's like a dance, but it's not partner dance in that way. And it's like meditation. But it's moving. So it's not sitting and meditate.
Moving meditation.
It's moving meditation.
Wow.
It's really meditative and relaxing. So I had a lot of, I feel really recharged last night just dancing. So it has been my favorite thing of the week.
Absolutely
Looking
beautiful
forward to that.
definition.
And for those of you who probably don't know about contact improvisation, began in the 1970s in the US. I think it started in Oberlin College by Steve Paxton and Nancy Stark-Smith, who passed away recently, earlier this year.
Oh no!
She's a force of nature, and a lot of people love her. So she passed away, and so the form was quite new, relatively 50 years. And it, I've always been trying to find a good definition of it, and I'll pick one that is it is an exploration of physical bodies in space with each other.
I see. And how was that experience to you? Can you paint a picture of you before you learning about contact improv, and what was like the moment for you?
Okay, so I'll do a demo.
Okay.
So me before contact improv is this. It's like this.
Okay, can you make sure that you're talking to
Yeah,
the,
I'm
to
speaking
the
here. So,
microphone? Okay.
so me before contact improv is like this, which is what most of you probably know me and know yourself. It's like this. Typical gigs.
Yeah.
I study philosophy.
So I would say from my descriptive right now, it's like shy, kind of
very reserved.
Very reserved, close up.
Yeah. So I would say that I'm interested in what I'm typing and doing rather than other things.
Okay.
So shy is one way, but what is feels from the inside, I'm just doing my thing. And,
I don't care about anybody feelings. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I'm
I just want to do my own thing.
I just want to do my own thing. Right. So that's before.
Okay.
I think now I'm like this. So I can do this, but I can also warm myself up, and then I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this. I can do this, and then I can be back doing this. But when I do this typing thing, there's just more vitality. So that's one big one. So just in my physicality,
so before you would say that doing this is more of like a autopilot or like a very nature state for you, but now if you're doing this, then you purposely doing it and you're aware of that.
Yeah. So a very important point you made is that awareness and choice.
Yeah.
So I'm aware that this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Most of the time, and I'm choosing to do it.
Yeah.
Which is really, really important.
Yeah.
Because
and why? Elaborate for people who doesn't understand why
is
it important to aware of things that you do.
So let's find an example. So suppose you have somebody in your family or at work that you just whenever you meet them, you like trigger. Right? I don't want to handle this. I get either very upset or don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
So awareness is knowing that you are doing this, and most of us, most of the time, are like, wow, I just do this. I'm not even aware that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So that's
like
one.
reactive
Right.
back
It's
way,
a reactive. It's a
defensive,
snap, right.
or like very close off, or
so
easily to get triggered. Sorry,
so
I'm
that's
trying to elaborate
reactivity.
to the one who listening on audio only.
Thank you. So that's awareness. Just knowing what's happening for you, especially reaction. So for example, just avoid somebody. Or just get upset. That's being aware. And then choices is well, maybe I can choose to act differently. And Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, many people will know.
I know that book.
This is the very well-known quote for him: is between stimulus and response, there is a space.
Yes.
Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies freedom. In stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space lies freedom. And so that's actually what I've been practicing and following through all the things that I'm doing. Writing or speaking or teaching or dancing. It's really about the space between stimulus and response.
And you get to choose and decide how you would react to the word, right? A lot of, like Instagram quote or like a lot of poppers saying right now is that you get to choose how to respond to war even on a bad day or on a good day. But it's really hard to practice that because a lot of time our body or like our emotions just take over and we don't really think about it. But what you're saying is that improv contact or improv dancing would help people to be more aware of it and would able to decide if they want to react the same way or react differently.
Right. So very important is to decide that they can do the same thing or they can do different thing. And it's okay to keep doing the same thing. But there's a saying, Einstein has a really nice quote that I love, is that the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
The
definition
of
insanity
okay.
is to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Okay. I get it.
So if you keep getting upset with the boss or scared away of this big assignment and you keep doing that, then
nothing will change.
Then the result is going to be not so good relationship or
you can't keep breaking the class and then expect to be the same class that never been broken before.
You can say that.
Okay. I think that's a good way to put it.
So I began in junior year of college.
Okay.
I'm sad that I only found out in my third years.
I see.
If I'd known about it, it was in school. So here's a story. I think is related to what we shared today. Is that it was marketed in the course syllable in the course list as movement and creative process. It's marketed that way.
Movement and creative
process.
Process or possess, like owning.
Or process as in how things happen.
Okay.
Processing. So it was a really good marketing because it's like movement and creative process. Okay, I'm interested in creativity. Maybe I can join the class. So
makes sense.
So lesson number 1: dance teacher also need to learn marketing skills.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like if people like, hey, mental health in general, right? If you like, hey, if you're sick and you're feeling weird by yourself, then here we come talk to people like, I don't know. I think I'm normal, right? But then if you market it like, if you're feeling like you want to explore yourself and understand yourself better, then come to talk to us. Then people are like, okay, sure. I can try that. So
I'm also exploring how to convey this. That makes good sense to people. I took the class and there was a strong, I would say half of the class was contact improvisation elements.
Okay.
Which is such a refreshing experience for me. Yeah.
And when you learned about contact improv in university, and then you decided you want to bring that back to Vietnam when you come back?
Yeah. Well, it took me a while to feel, I guess, confident enough to do it. And I think this has to do with this stimulus and response again.
Yeah.
So the stimulus is I came back to Vietnam, and then everything goes on as usual.
Yeah.
Live, and then I was choosing a right response to how to spend my time here, and it's I was scared of doing it because it's strange.
It is strange.
And you starting something new is strange.
Yeah.
And I
then why do you decided to do it anyway?
Well, I'm trying to find the answer that is more feel true to my heart. You know, the real answer is that I cannot not do it. I cannot not do it.
Yeah.
That something will feel wrong, and I cannot stand
feeling
that sense of something is wrong if I not do it.
Is it because you feel like this is something that you can bring value to people, or is that because
so rationally speaking, intellectually speaking, so if I were to try to convince you on a really nice convincing story about why Khuyen did this, then I would say yes. You know, I thought about my friends here and what they might need, and here's a tool that I have, and I can meet that need by offering this practice. So yes, so I can give you that intellectual rational version.
Yeah.
But the actual physical experience for me is that I cannot not do it. If I not do it, there's something feels very wrong.
Yeah.
And I will continue living with that sense of wrongness.
Yeah.
And that will kill me from the inside.
I see.
It's true. It's like, oh my gosh, if I don't have dance in my life and I don't get to do this, I will like a tree withering in the heat.
But is it like because so I would say that before you came back, like there is no contact improv or anything similar in Vietnam?
My friend Tu in Hanoi has been doing it for a year before me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as much as I hope.
Yeah.
Really. So the first thing when I came back to Hanoi is that I messaged my friend Tu.
Yeah.
And said I dance contact improv too.
Ooh.
And he was so happy to meet me because there was literally nobody.
Yeah.
So it was really good, you know, that we met up. So
yeah.
We're good, very good friends from then.
Yes.
And yeah. So that is the personal answer. That I cannot not do it. But more and more as I began to do it, is I discover how useful and valuable it is for people. And I can go into that if you feels right.
Yeah.
So first of all, relating to the freedom, sense of freedom, there's something about, and freedom here doesn't mean doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's a very simple definition of freedom. I think freedom here is that, like we said, the space between stimulus, meaning somebody throws something at you and then you respond.
Yeah.
That's freedom.
Yeah.
And in contact improvisation, as well as in life, there's many situations that requires to have a different response.
Yeah.
And I think the practice of contact improvisation is so clearly inviting that kind of freedom in responding. So, for example, you lean on me. Right. So well, that's touching my shoulder.
Okay.
It really leans on me, right?
Okay.
So let's say you can press against my hands, right?
Okay.
So you leans on me.
Okay.
One of the way that I respond is I can meet you. This is meeting you.
Yeah.
Right. That's one response.
Yeah.
But I can also choose to not meet you. So I put it aside. Or I can choose to be like lead you somewhere.
Okay.
Right. And so there are different response.
Yeah.
And what's really important is that being aware that we have choices. Some people are like, well, I always have to press against you like this because that's how I'm trained to do. You know, I have to be meeting you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's one way.
That's one way.
Yeah.
And there's a different way.
Yeah.
And then there's like guiding and all kind of things. So that's a very clear example, right?
Yeah.
When we're meeting somebody, do you need to meet them, or you want to be around them,
or do you want to just walk away? That's fine too.
And I'm not putting any value judgment on here, meaning that everything is good for something. Every responses is good for something, right? If you don't want to meet somebody, you can walk away. Yeah. Some people feel like they always have to.
Yeah, they feel like there's a pressure. Like if I'm putting my hands out and you're not meeting me in the middle, then I will feel hurt. Yeah. And you will feel bad about it.
I feel bad.
Then how does improv help them with that?
Well, so here's a direct example, right? So you notice that you have an instinctive response to meet somebody. Yeah. And then you feel a little bit uneasy. Or I feel a bit uneasy about just let you like drop it like that. And I feel bad. So that is a very direct experience of a situation that you could meet in life. And by the practice here is that you can choose, okay, well, at this point, let's say I don't really want to encounter you. I can just leave. And then there are ways for us to leave that is more graceful.
Why do you think that people need this?
Well, first of all, let's just say use the word inner child, because some people here would be like, what inner child? Like, who has time for inner child? Right?
I'm grown up already.
I'm grown up already. What inner child? Right? So it's good to mention that.
Okay.
Is that what's a good thing about being in touch with the inner child is that the inner child is part of you, and just imagine that everything let's say you have a goal you want to achieve, you want to enlist the strength and the power of every part of you. And now you just put away one significant part, which is the inner child. The child has a capacity for curiosity, for freshness, all
creativity.
That. All of that, and you just leave it aside. That's not very helpful if you want to do something really important. Yeah. So as a sort of a pop cultural reference, if you want to really defeat the villain, you have to assemble a team. Yeah. So it's like that. You got to assemble every part of you, and they got to work well together. Yeah. And the inner child is usually a neglected part. Yeah. And some of us here might be. I'm speaking for myself, but I think many people might be similar. Some of us here are quote unquote forced to grow up too early. Forced to grow up too early. So for circumstances, family, you're forced to grow up. Because you take on a lot of responsibility. Yeah. You are a child, but you are acting like a father of the house. Many people that way. Yeah. Many people I know who are quote unquote successful and high achieving leaders. Yeah. It's because they are forced to grow up early. Yeah. So you really have to do that. And that's one. So good that you have been that way, but at certain point, that's not enough anymore. This taking responsibility, stepping up. That's not enough anymore. You burn out. 99% of the time, people that I met who found this to be such a dancing to be so nice. Oh my God, I'm so burnt out. Right? This is like my end of the week, getting everything out. Right. So the practice of kind of being in touch with the inner child, the playful, joyous, curious, is that's superpower. Yeah. So that you can approach every moment with freshness. Yeah. Rather than stepping up, taking more responsibility, achieving, but stress out and burn out. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people that I know that I admire who have children love playing with their kids. Why? Yeah. Because they get to be the kid. Yes. So why don't we do that? And do we need to wait until we have kids in order to be like it? No.
Yeah, absolutely true. And I would say that would be very important for people who are being entrepreneur, or like people who, any adult or anyone who try to have a lot of responsibility. Yeah. It is important to do that.
And I would say also, even in bigger company, more mature form, there's a innovation department where people are doing something slightly differently. Yeah. They explore something different from the usual way. And so this is the practice. Yeah. In dance, I think in contact improvisation, I think it really hits home that spirit of playfulness and
curiosity, and then like not fear of failure, right? We did an episode earlier on mindful marketing, and one of the part that we talk about is that using your vulnerability to implement it in your work is really important to just to empathize with people, to understand where your value, and really not to lose track. Because there are a lot of time that we as adult we have a lot of tools and a lot of skills in our hand that if we don't use it carefully, then sometimes it would hurt other people.
It's so it brings me to another important piece that I have really learned from doing this dance is sensitivity. Because one of the important principle we had is taking care of other people. And in the dance floor, it means paying attention to what's happening to them. Say they have their arms are a little bit hurtful. You don't want to move there. So there are things like that, and you begin to be more sensitive to read those things. And that really translates into everything else in life because you practice paying attention. And people appreciate that. Really, people
absolutely
do.
And for you, I'm just curious. You're male, so beside being open already, right? You also have another pressures of social, like you have to be strong, the toxic then you have to be masculine and stuff, right? And I feel like you have opened yourself enough to be vulnerable, and also opening yourself to explore and express a lot of emotions. And there are a lot of people
more than before, but I'll take that.
But I think you're getting there, right? But then for sure with for example, right? We have a lot of guests here that are male, and I noticed that people are afraid to be open up.
For good reason. Because there's so much at stake, right? If you just say something and then what everybody says will begin to comment on you, and then you have to worry about that, of course.
Yes, absolutely. And I understand the fear. Where's the fear coming from? But for you, as someone who understands improv, as a male, would you say how would you say about it? Like, how would you say as a male? Like, how
so I would say my model, my way of seeing it is inclusion. So I'm not saying being certain way is bad. But I'm saying is that if you want to do even more things, you need to expand new capacity. So let's use this example of and I'm speaking personally now because I have this since the day I came back to Vietnam. This is one of my ongoing pain. Is that in my work involve a lot of women. More than men, and I'm like, where are the guys? I'm like, where are you guys? So sad. I'm so sad. So one of the primary misconceptions people have with this form of dance and dance in general is, guys don't dance, or like this is girly stuff. This is wavy. This is flowy. This is the girly stuff. And I was very sad to find out about that because. No, people have. It's not all about flowing. Sometimes you need to be very clear and direct in the dance. You want to guide people this way and that way, and that's the masculinity that we want to develop. The clarity, the direction, all that. In leadership, people vision, like discipline, all that. Like yes, you practice that too in the dance. It's not just about go with the flow. It's important, and that's not all.
I mean, I feel like you more like I would say that. Content probably is more like going the flow, but for you personally, I feel you are one of people who actually stand against the current because it's so easy for you to just not do this and not be like not open up or not doing all this that people assume are girly, but you're doing it because you understand this is important and you are pursuing it. Which makes you very masculine and very manly on that side.
Anybody who starts something and do it and put in the discipline and the work to make it happen, that's a healthy masculinity, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Consistency, persistency is that continue. And I think that's an important part. Under sort of underappreciated here. And here the guys that I met, they really concerned about being girly, and like, no, you do the stuff, you have a direction, you set clear, do this and not that, and all of that are extremely useful in the dance too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so FYI, one of those thing that I'm asking people here is that if you're guys, you should join, because you're gonna help us show that dance can be different. Because there's this misconception that it's gonna be like nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be. I have like a few other my guys friend in the dance class, and we are like wrestling, literally. We are like jumping on each other and we push and all that, and it's very satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah, it's like
people go Muay Thai or boxing to release those emotions, and why not use it? This is the same physical practice.
Yeah, exactly. And so I have my aggressive side too. Like I can do this wrestling thing.
Yeah.
But I also find that with this fluidity,
yeah,
there's more fun. There's more fun.
There's no need to be, hated or like very competitive with each other.
Yeah, you can say that. I'm not saying being competitive is wrong. I'm just saying that this is a different way and it could be fun. So I invite people to explore.
Yeah.
One of the difference that I make between this form of dance and say a normal martial arts or martial art is that it is not a competition. Even though it can feel super wrestling, but it's not a competition.
Yeah.
I think that's a big difference. Because then it takes off the pressure to win.
Yeah.
And then without the pressure to win, there is possibility for surprise. It's like my philosopher friend who went into a debate with the law student. It's like everybody try to win and this guy say, oh, you may be right. Let me consider what you say.
Yes.
That's a different possibility.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And for people who are, feeling lost, and feeling lost.
There's some of them.
Yes, feeling lost and feeling, out of place.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of people, like coming back to you here from overseas or anywhere. Like if you're growing up, you're adult, or you just learning about yourself, and you often feeling lost and you don't feel you belong anywhere.
Yeah.
Then what would you say? How improv contact would help?
Let's see. So. First of all, I would say that if you're feeling lost, you're not alone. Everybody has and will be lost. I think the whole world is lost right now. You can say that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So you are not alone. And I think there's something about acknowledging that you are not alone helps. And then the second piece is that I think the most important part about being lost is to you yourself realizing that it's normal. You are lost not because you don't know where to go. You are lost because everything you know or everything you thought should be or people said you should be don't feel right. Right? That's why you're not lost.
Yeah.
In that sense, you just know that everything that is here is not true.
Yeah.
Not right for you.
Yeah.
And so I would say that the practice, some people do dance, some people do meditation or anything, but the practice is really being okay with not knowing or being lost. Knowing that everything that is here doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And being okay with that. And I find that in dance, being lost in contact improvisation or being disoriented is the most fun thing ever. It's so fun. It's like if I dance with you and I just know exactly what you do, I'll be so bored.
Yes.
Right. Let's say we rehearse a beautiful choreograph and we do it. So some people get a lot of pleasure out of like doing a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But in contact improvisation, the kind of pleasure we are training here to receive is like, whoa, that's so cool that I'm like, I just lost my balance and then I fell, but then because I was falling, I fall on you and we started to doing something different now. And all that is like, well, only when you are slightly disoriented or lost or off balance, something new can come. Because if you already know what to do, then what new can come, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's the beautiful thing of life is that appreciating things that unexpectedly coming to you.
Yeah. And what is it like to develop a a state of openness that would allow us to respond again, back to the word respond, and respond in freedom, right? And respond to all of the things that are coming. Still keeping a center within yourself, still being aware of what's happening over there, more and more awareness, and responding in a way that is most satisfying, beautiful, helpful. I think that's a practice. And I think in dance, that's where I see that happening for me. Because it's not just about talking theory anymore. Once you can move like that, your way of being in the world, the way you move in the world, and the way you move on the floor are the same. That's why I use contact improvisation as a form of discovering who we really are. Because your body just don't lie. Like, it's just very difficult for your body to lie. You have certain instinctive response that you cannot lie. And so what can be a better way to discover what is true than using the means of the body?
A lot of people, sometimes you don't realize that you're angry, or sometimes you don't realize that you're scared or stressed and stuff. But if you kind of notice that, I think the body language, like from my mindfulness class, then we learned that the body actually know how you feel, like way ahead before your mind and your brain start recognize things. And because if you're in tune your body, then you would just, keep in touch with that, and then you're able to figure out things maybe faster.
But most of us don't. And you know why?
Why?
And I learned this from Dr. Gabermet, who wrote this is an amazing, well-known doctor who did a lot of work on this, on addiction.
Okay.
And he...
I thought about improv contact for a second.
Well, it's related. And he really make the case that addiction is not like addiction to heroin or anything. Addiction is anything that we...
Give you dopamine.
We crave for, that will give us immediate relief, kind of ease. That is that is not supporting toward the long-term what is good for us. And by that definition, we are addicted to social media, we are addicted to shopping, to food, to work. To all
workaholic.
That, right? Like, so many of us work so that we don't have to deal with relationship stuff. That's like classic. Me too. Sometimes. So now better now. So addiction, and I'm gonna make a connection between why we are not in touch with ourselves. It happens because long time ago, when we was very young, 3-4 years old, we learn that we have to be certain ways so that our caretaker, probably parents, will continue to love us by giving us food, by paying attention to us. We have to be nice. So since 2, 3, 4 years old, we began to trade what is true for us, what is true in our guts, what is true in our body. For example, when I'm upset or I'm hungry and all that, to do things that are not true here so that we will please our caretaker, so that they can continue supporting us. And why do we need to do that? Because if they don't care for us, we will die. So I think with that understanding, there's a lot more compassion for all of us who are now like, I'm not in touch with who I am. Well, because you have...
That's where your inner child started to close up. And that's where you
we
realize
did that since 3-4 years old. And they keep doing that. No wonder.
I
so
know, right?
It's a note of compassion.
And I assume that you have come across a lot of challenge. Doing contact improv, right? Like something so new and nobody know about, and then like you have to teach people what is it about. So all of that is challenge, but I have one particular story that I'm still remembering until today. It's slightly painful. It was painful, but I'm trying to find the humor in it. It's I'm trying. So as you probably have guessed by now, and if you've watched the YouTube videos, this dance is involving contact, physical contact, which to the traditional Vietnamese culture is a little bit taboo. Between different genders.
Right, so nam nữ thụ thụ bất thân, đúng không?
Yes.
So like that. and so it feels very it's like people freak out, like, what did you do there? Right? So it
Yeah.
and I have one particular incident where I have one guy, a guy friend of mine, who he's very open-minded and he wanted to explore things, and I invited him to my class, and he did, and he went, and we enjoyed it, really dancing and learning to move around.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I got a really long messages from
him.
his
Girlfriend.
girlfriend,
Uh-huh.
who did not go to the class.
Uh-huh.
And
wait, so she accused you for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's true. I mean, obviously, I brought it in, and it was something that was not acceptable.
I mean, if she's jealous with you, that would be kind of dumb.
No. He's not jealous that I'm a straight guy, so no problem. So not about that. But she said that this is not acceptable for the culture. That doing this is gross. She used the word gross.
Yes.
Tiếng Việt là ghê tởm đó.
Wow.
She used that word.
That's very harsh.
Yeah, it was, and so I was a bit taken aback because this is like, I knew that something would happen, but I didn't know they would come like that. And so she sent a really long messages that this is not acceptable. You are doing this thing is really bad, and stop doing that. And I was
wait. So she's saying that as like you should stop doing contact improv, or is that like stop inviting my boyfriend to
stop doing this thing?
Oh wow. Okay.
She was upset. She was upset. She was insecure and sad.
Yes.
Which is something that I understand, and I don't blame her.
Yeah.
But that was hard for me.
Yes.
To see that this can push some button. But I also think that there is something to be said about learning to accept other people for their own journey. In this case, I think we learn that in the dance.
Yes.
You can dance and your partner dance. And your partner may not want to dance with you.
Yes.
And your partner may want to dance with you in a certain way.
Yes.
And what is it like to accept what they are? Accept what you want right now, what's happening for you, and then find ways that you can continue or not.
Yeah.
But if you don't stop continuing, then find a way to end it well.
Yeah.
And I think that was a story that still remember, and I believe they have separated by now.
For good reason.
We don't know.
Okay.
But I think the bigger point that people can relate to is that
very generous of you.
It's hard to say, but the bigger point that can relate to people is that you are in any kind of relationships. There will be a point where someone wants to take a different path.
Yes.
Or they want to be exploring this, or be more open.
Yes.
Or more close.
Yes.
It also works, right?
People grow apart, and that's understandable.
Or people, and one person grows apart, and the other person wants to hold on. That all happens, and this is something that we can practice being more attentive to.
Yes.
And be more kind, like you said, being more kind.
Yeah.
And so that I had to be kind with myself. That Khuyen, you did not do anything wrong by introducing this.
I think that would actually very discouraging when you're doing this, you feel like you helping people, and then there's people coming in like, hey, I hate your stuff, like it's very sad and harsh.
It's harsh. And I also feel sad for my friend who went to the class and enjoyed it.
I know,
it's
right?
like, you enjoy it and we had a good time.
Wait, so did he come back after they broke
up?
No.
No. He did not come back. But now I think they ended their relationships.
Yes. Will you invite him again?
I'm inviting him back. Yeah.
That's good.
It's good because I know it's good for him, and he knows it's good for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a happy ending for us.
I'm looking forward. So that's one challenge. I can see there's more, but yeah.
Yeah. And how about like from that, like how do you pick yourself up and continuing it? Because it's very easy to give up.
Right. So usually people would go for a drink.
Yes.
But I go to dance.
That's a good solution.
Because that's what it does for me.
Yes.
It's really a way for me to let out and process some of the things that is difficult.
Yeah.
And I did get to share with people in the dance community that this happened. and it will continue happening. It already happened. I mean, there are people who are married who go to the class, and of course there was something that will come out.
Yeah.
But what I usually say is that I'm not the reason. I'm just an excuse for whatever that is already there to come up.
Yeah.
It's not me. Something else had happened. Something
Yes.
else happened.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're already insecure about your relationship, then you'll be insecure about anything.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Saying that with compassion, but also with understanding that it's not wrong.
Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the story you just tell right now is that you understand that you being you is not a fault.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big one. And I think many people might relate that it's not that you are at fault. It's not that you're wrong. It is that from their perspective, this is not acceptable for them. And being able to draw the line between this is what you are and this is how they see it, not throwing away either where you are or what they feel. Because there are some people like, everybody's wrong, I'm right.
Yes.
That's also not so good.
Yeah.
So this is more about embracing both perspective. She was right.
Yes.
I was right
from
too.
her side.
I was right too. And what is it like to hold both? And what is it like? Say, can I talk to somebody who's it's not on my side? That's something that I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
With our practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And any particular push for you, like, of course, being one of the first comer, or I would say earlier we mentioned about being against the current.
Yeah.
Contact improv in general is about open up yourself, push yourself into a new limit.
Yeah, and I would say I'll add that. Some people use the word push yourself over your limit.
Yeah.
I would also say that it's also about following your curiosity where it leads you to.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not about forcefully push yourself. It's about following what has always been there.
Yeah. And open it up and not
open it up. Not let it be closed.
Yes. And not suppress it and not just turn
yeah. So speaking about those who feel like they are against the current, it's true that you are against the current. And it's also true that there's a part of you that knows what is true. And it has been growing in you.
Yeah.
That's why you're having this concern. You're having the questions of like, I'm not sure if they should. Because it's a part of you that knows what is right here for you. And you might want to push it away. Yeah. But it's always there.
Yes. And I feel like, it's difficult, right? Because being against the currents is intimidating.
It's hard.
And being true to yourself, why not, trigger everybody?
Yeah.
It's also difficult.
It's difficult. And most of us don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And in order to know how to do it, we need to make some mistake.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
And why do you still continue doing it? Why are you still focused on being you and not being followed or triggered by anyone who against your value?
Well, I'm still being triggered by people. So that's
yes.
That's
but you learn better. You learn about like you understand the perspective and you respect that.
Yeah.
It's not like when people are like, hey, I don't think that you're doing the good way, and then you would just be like, oh, I don't understand you, or I'm just or maybe you follow them, right? And then if you follow them too much, then you just lose who you really are.
Yeah. I would say that so people set this up, a kind of contradiction between being who you are and being nice with other people and being accepted.
Yeah.
I think people set it up as against each other. I believe there are ways to do both. I give you a funny story. Is my family, of course, worry about me.
Yes.
You're like worry about me, right? My uncle particularly is worried about me, and they begin to ask me like, okay, when are you gonna get married? When are you gonna have something stable and all that? And
typical Vietnamese
right?
Family.
Yeah, especially in Hanoi. And so for a long time, I struggled with it. I very much struggle with it. I don't know what to answer. Sometimes I want to scream. I just want to do my thing, but then that doesn't really work because that would damage the relationship. So I have learned, and this is life changing for me, guys. I've learned to say to my extended families that they ask me about, okay, when are you gonna get married, or when are you gonna have something? Then I'll tell them, right now I'm focusing on establishing myself, having a sense of career, making money so that I feel stable. And then when I'm stable, then I can think I can have a family. And they'd be like, yes, that's a good answer. That's a great answer. And it's true.
It is true.
It's true. So I'm just giving the right answer for them.
Yes.
But also it makes sense for me. It's true. I'm trying to establish myself.
Yes.
And I feel good about that.
Yes.
So whenever we set it up as like, okay, either you do this or do that, you be yourself or being what people expect of you, find a way to do both. That's where the fun is. That's where the art is.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any particular stories that keep you going for the last 2 years for Contact Improv? We talk about, bad things or like people that against Contact Improv because they feel like it's wrong for them, right? But then how about people who try it and see the difference that it impacts in their life?
Yeah. I have a few friends that I have become very close friends from this. And this relate not just to Contact Improv. To me, it is a tool. And then relate to coaching, to other pieces. But it is about uncovering what is already very beautiful about each of us. And through the dance, it comes out very nice, very naturally. I had a friend of mine, I will not say her name, but a good friend of mine, and she was very, she was lost at that point, like having a crisis with her job, with her relationships, and she came to our dance class, and then she went to our 3 days camp in July. And at the beginning, you can see her as someone who's very reserved and not daring to dance, not really daring to connect. And through the process of opening up movement-wise, but also in relating with other people, which is how I think we grow. We don't grow alone. We always do it together, right?
Yeah.
In relationships, is begin to see a different side of her, and that she didn't even know. And so at the end of the 3 days camp, I remember we were in a circle and people begin to say appreciation, thank you. And we were also surprised and touched by how many people mention her as someone who's always there and so caring and so gentle and so listening to them.
Wow.
In a way, there's a way of her way of being is very calming and healing for people.
Wow.
And we all surprised because she would never thought of herself that way.
So she never realized that.
She never realized that she had that capacity. But we all see that, especially in the way she moves and the way she talks, and is that she has this gentleness that is very accepting and loving. And that began to shine through her experience opening up with her physical movement and in dancing with people. And it's beautiful. And like that kind of thing keep me going because you just never know what gems are there once you begin to uncover. And I think that was somebody's life is changed. That kept me going. And I know, and this is not boasting, this is knowing with confidence, is that it's not just her, it's other people and also me. I'm doing it also for myself because of the joy it gives.
So for people who want to reach out or like want to check out more about your work, your writing or improv contact, then how do they reach you?
You can go to my website. So me is my website, KhuyenBui.com, KhuyenBui.com. That's my name. And if you want to check out Contact Improv, I don't know where you listen to in the world. There might be one in the city, but in Saigon, you can look up the Facebook page, Vietnam Contact Improv. Contact here is contact, like being in contact with someone, and improv is IMPROV.
Improv, improvisation.
And yeah, just include that in the show notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing a lot about improv, or like your journeys, who one of the first one who create this kind of genre of dance in Vietnam. And I think it's very exciting. And thank you for educate, or let us know about why is this dance is such different or such helpful for people.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that I get the chance to share, and I'm very grateful that you and your team have opened up this chance. And I'm very heartened and happy to see that there are people doing this work of raising people awareness on what are the good stuff, and it gives me a lot of excitement and hope.
Yes.
About wow, especially this is 2020.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to have some of those
positivity right now there.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much for your kind words. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure the team also very appreciative of this. So for you audience out there, if you want to reach out to Khuyen, go to his website again. It's KHUYENBUI.com, or on Facebook it's the same. Yeah. It's the same thing, right? Yeah. Yes. Or Facebook page is the Vietnam Contact Improv. And and if you like this episode, let us know as well. Vietnam Rising Podcast on all of our handles. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, email. And and thank you for tuning in again for this episode. And I see you in the next one. See you guys. Bye bye.
See you. Thank you.